Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 821, 821, June the 25th, 2019, Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, we have some things to get to today, certainly. Before I do though, just a note here, there will not be a TowerGate video on Wednesday because I have to go out of town for a one-day business deal. So I'll be gone for the whole day pretty much. And so I wouldn't be able to do a video, but I'll be back on Thursday with another TowerGate video, but not on Wednesday. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and go through the news of the day. Let's see. Well, we have Sarah Carter doing an interview with Lindsey Graham, and in that interview, Graham discloses that there are transcripts of exchanges between Stefan Halper, the fat man, and Papagalopoulos. Also, there are transcripts of the fat man, Stefan Halper, and Carter Page. Now, Trump has declassified everything pretty much, so it's time to release these transcripts. According to Lindsey Graham, these transcripts do not expose any sources or methods. Not only that, while we're on the topic, we have Paul Sperry tweeting out that he is not impressed with Lindsey Graham. He says that Graham is putting on a show for the South Carolina voters, and he has done nothing. And he's absolutely right at this point. Graham has done nothing. He was talking a big game, talking a great big fat game, but at this point about all the investigations he is going to do and how he's going to get to the bottom of it and all these things. Now, Graham, I guess, is in possession of some of these documents. He could certainly release them or do something. So a lot of people are getting frustrated with Lindsey Graham. And I get the impression, I mentioned this about a week ago in a video, I got the impression from watching Lindsey Graham the last time I saw him on the subject, I got the impression he's waiting for the Horowitz report to come out. And then once the Horowitz report comes out is when he's going to, I guess, hold all these hearings. And my thoughts are, why do you have to wait for Horowitz? I mean, go ahead and start having your hearings now. Go ahead and start subpoenaing witnesses now. And when Horowitz's report comes out, if that, has any impact on your hearings and there's other people you need to call or you need to call some people back or what have you, go ahead and do it. I don't know why everybody wants to wait. That's the problem that we got into, it seems like to me, when the Republicans had control of the House of Representatives and the Senate. We went through that whole time period, a long time period, where they didn't do squat. They did, obviously had Nunes and some other people trying to get documents, trying to do this, trying to do that, but they never really, and I realized Paul Ryan was a big part of it, blocking subpoenas and things like that, contempt and things, but they just seem to go about everything in a snail's pace. They let themselves get drug around by the nose and screwed with and toyed with, and they never really came out, in my opinion, as forcefully as they should have and made their case. And they never really used the tools that they had. They could have ganged up on Paul Ryan, but they all, for some reason, were terrified to say anything to him. And so, I mean, I know it's a complicated mess in Washington, but I just, in my gut, I don't feel like that they were nearly aggressive enough. And quite honestly, I don't think they actually believed that they were going to lose the House. Or else they weren't considering that. And what happened is the month went by, and another month went by, and another month went by, and pretty soon here they get to the end of that session, and now here comes the midterm elections, and they lose, and now the Democrats take over, and then you look back at all the months that they squandered, and you look at their behavior compared to how you see the Democrats behaving, how aggressive they are. And it just, the contrast is pretty obvious that, and the Democrats are totally in the wrong. I mean, they're doing everything based on a hoax and a bunch of BS, whereas the Republicans actually had serious issues, and they should have had the power of truth on their side. They simply were a bit lame. Now, I'm not blaming Jim Jordan and a few others like him, Mark Meadows. I mean, I think they did the best they could, Ratcliffe and some of the others, but, I just don't feel like they gave the full effort that they could have given overall. And I agree with Sperry on this. I'm the big fan of Lindsey Graham, never have been. I know why he's cozying up to the president. It's because he's up for re-election, and Trump's very popular in South Carolina. He's a typical politician. So yes, I do hope that some people start holding Graham's feet to the fire, because if you wait on the Inspector General Huckleberry Horowitz, you could be waiting forever, because every time you turn around, it's another delay. And what's Huckleberry going to come out and say anyway? Remember, Huckleberry Horowitz, the Inspector IG, he is the IG of the DOJ. He is essentially the custodian. The custodian. His job is to come in and clean up the mess. To clean up the mess. His job is not to identify the perpetrators or anything else and bring any real heat on them. And even if he does, I mean, he did a criminal referral on McCabe. What happened to him? So I don't know. Everybody, the Horowitz report. Screw the Horowitz report. If I'm Lindsey Graham, I'm the Senate Majority Leader. I can subpoena witnesses, documents. I can hold hearings. I can do all that stuff publicly and privately. I don't need to wait for Huckleberry. And we've got Barr and Durham now. Why the hell do you need Huckleberry when you got Barr and Durham? Now maybe Barr is going to use Huckleberry in his IG report to be the justification for why he makes a more aggressive move toward prosecutions of the perpetrators. I can see where that might provide some political cover. Maybe that's what Lindsey Graham is looking for. But you don't need political cover under the current circumstances. You've got the damn truth on your side. How about that? You know, there's something very powerful about a person who realizes he is right. That he's got the truth on his side. It's very powerful. People can see it. They know a con artist and a bullshit artist from someone who's really on fire with the truth and with some passion for some justice. I think that's what Paul Sperry is talking about. But anyway, like I said in this first story here, the transcripts that we're referring to are from Stefan Halper, transcripts of Halper with Papadopoulos, and transcripts of Halper with Carter Page. Now, I don't think that means that there are no other transcripts. In other words, there may be transcripts of Alexander Down the Hatch Downer with Papadopoulos, and there may be transcripts of Misfit with Papadopoulos. Who knows? But Trump has declassified this stuff, and it's time for people like Lindsey Graham to get on the stick and to make some things happen. Be an action man. That's how the president got elected, and that's how he keeps his base so happy. If you take care of your business, Mr. Graham, you won't have to worry about getting reelected. Okay, let's move on to the next story. It appears that Michael Flynn was seen leaving the courthouse today with his attorney, Sidney Powell. Too bad he didn't have Sidney Powell a long time ago as his lawyer, but it looks like Flynn's sentencing has been delayed again. It also appears that Sidney Powell was asking about what she needed to do regarding her security clearance so that she could look at classified documents and other things regarding Flynn's case. And apparently she was told that there was no classified documents provided by the prosecution because Flynn pled guilty. And why did he plead guilty? Well, he pled guilty because Rodenstein signed off on the expanded scope memo, on the second memo, which allowed Uncle Bob, the drive-by executioner, and the Hillary donor posse to go after Michael Flynn's son so that they could use that as a wedge against Flynn to get a plea deal. And by doing so, they never had to produce the documents for a discovery session. So there are none. Now, whether or not Sidney Powell can go back and do something about this and get documents, but I don't think so. I mean, I think once you've pled, got a plea deal, you pretty much got a plea deal. I don't know that you can back up and, do it over, get a do-over. I don't think so. But, I guess the way I look at it is, if I were Flynn, and I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, this thing's been beat like a dead horse, and you can't go back and undo it. My situation will be, okay, then let's just go ahead and finish it. Whatever you're going to do, sentencing, give him a month in jail, a week in jail, a day in jail, some community service, whatever, pay a fine, whatever, get it over with. Just be done with it. And then, as soon as you do whatever it is you have to do, go on offense. He's got a hell of a case against the government, and then he can get the documents. That would be my way I would approach it. But what the hell do I know? Well, we got a hell of a teaser video today, or yesterday, from James O'Keefe. My oh my. From Project Veritas. And this could be a biggie, because at the time, of course, we have Nunes, who has his case, which I think is in discovery right now, and will be in front of the courts in, I think, August. And that's his case against the big social media groups, and I assume that includes Google or whatever. So here we have James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. He has obtained documents and an undercover video that shows Google's plan to prevent a Trump situation reoccurring in 2020. The undercover video shows a Google employee who's the head of responsible innovation named Jean Janai. She's arguing against Elizabeth Warren's suggestion that Google should be broken up, because she says a smaller company would not be able to prevent the next Trump situation. Janai says that Google is trying to prevent the 2016 election results repeating in 2020. And I think that there's more. I think this was just a teaser. He also has some documents and a whistleblower interview, which he just shows just a few, maybe 30 seconds of that. But the documents show how Google manipulates search engine results to work against conservative websites. And he's got this whistleblower who he's obviously got a longer interview with. He just shows you a short clip. So I think that this is typical of what they do, what O'Keefe does. He puts out a little bit, enough to get everyone's attention, and then he drops a little more and a little more. So you usually get 3, 4, 5 drops from one expose from O'Keefe. That's how he typically does things, and he's quite on target to do it that way. It's exactly what you want to do. O'Keefe's pretty smart. He's managed to do something no one else has really been able to do, and he just won a legal case. In fact, the last 2 legal cases he's been involved in, he has won. So anyway, I'm sure many of you have already seen the video and have read a bit about the story. It's pretty damning. I mean, this is a fairly high-level senior executive at Google, not just a low-level employee or something like that. She is a very senior-level employee. She's got YouTube videos all over the place of her doing press conferences and her doing seminars and all sorts of things. And she's a fairly high-level player at Google, and she's talking about essentially admitting that they tried to rig the 2016 elections. They realized that they failed, that they didn't succeed, and they want to try to do better in 2020 so that Trump doesn't get reelected. They want to try harder to rig it in 2020 and actually succeed. I mean, it's mind-boggling. And at this point, I agree with Dan Bongino and some other people that there needs to be like an internet bill of rights, just like airline passengers and other people have these, there's various solutions to the problem. I don't want a lot of government involvement. As far as breaking up Google, I guess, it's one option, but I just think that I think there's probably a better way to sort this out. And I think the best way to sort this out is to establish a clear set of rules that Google must follow, and make it possible for people who've been wronged by Google, including yours truly, because they own YouTube, and I'm being screwed with, along with a lot of other YouTubers, and we're well aware of the fact that we're being screwed with, to give us the option of going to court and suing them. They need a clear set of guidelines that forces Google and YouTube to treat everyone equally and fairly, and political speech should be protected. If I'm being censored, and I am, because of political speech, I mean, I sometimes drop some F-bombs, and I use some language, but my box isn't checked on my YouTube channel as a family-friendly channel. I'm not a family-friendly channel. I should be able to drop as many F-bombs as I want. I try not to, because my mom watches my videos, and my sister sometimes, and she's like a hardcore, right-wing Christian type. They don't like the F-bombs. So I try to, measure that as much as I can. Sometimes I get mad and I can't help it. So, yes, I mean, I think there needs to be some way that people who are being abused should have a way to settle the score. And if Google and YouTube were swamped with lawsuits for having their speech violated, then I think that would probably slow them down a bit and make them reconsider what they're doing. And so I think that's the direction I would like to see it go. And not that I want to sue Google or YouTube or anything like that. I just want to be able to do my damn videos and not be censored. That's all I'm asking for. But give me an option if I am being censored. I think that's where I would like to see it go. I mean, Hex Hammer, I mean, he's like me. His channel isn't monetized. He doesn't run ads on his channel. He does do Patreon donations, and he sells his other works in other places, and he promotes it on YouTube. But, I mean, I watch quite a few Sticks videos. I've been a subscriber for a long time, and, when I go to my homepage at YouTube, I should see Hex Hammer videos popping up. They should be popping up and videos that for me, because I watch other videos. I watch a lot of pop up all the time, but never Sticks. I have to actually type it in to the search box. And H.A. Goodman, used to, you type H.A. Goodman in the search box, come right up. H.A. Goodman, click on it, go click on today's videos, you watch his videos. Do it now, see what happens. When I do it, I type in H.A. Goodman, everything in the world comes up, but no H.A. Goodman comes up in the search. So they're on him too. Now, he does monetize his channel, but, there's a lot of stuff going on that needs to stop. Really needs to stop. And I hope that this video, I'm sure there is more. I really hope that O'Keefe gets a lot of publicity with this video. It's timed very well. I'm sure Nunes is going to be all over it. It's going to be this is a very important video for Veritas right at the time when Nunes is about to enter into this lawsuit. I'm sure that this is now going to be included. It's maybe one of the best pieces of evidence that he's going to have. So, well done, James O'Keefe. Guy totally gets it done. Well, we have crazy Uncle Joe Biden saying in a speech that Congress should grant immediate citizenship to more than 800,000 residents who were brought into the U.S. illegally as children. Okay, first of all, let's debunk this crap right now. They keep throwing out this number, 800,000. I promise you it's about 3 times that. I promise you it's 2 to 3 million. There's not just 800,000 dreamers. There's millions of them. So first of all, they're not even telling the truth about the number of how many dreamers there are. And it's, it's not that I don't, have a soft spot in my heart for these people who were brought here when they were kids and had no choice, and now they're here. This is the language they speak, and I get that. But the problem is that this is not the real heart of the issue for Democrats or Joe Biden. And they don't care about those kids either. That's what bothers me most, is they don't care about these kids either. Trump made an overture to them months ago to try to get an immigration deal, and they wouldn't even have a conversation about it. What he offered a pathway to citizenship for a lot of these dreamers. So it's all bullshit, and that's what bothers me the most about it. It's not even serious. It's just more political garbage coming out of the mouth of the garbage man, crazy Uncle Joe. In fact, he's worse than garbage, because at least garbage at some point in its life had some usefulness. There's never been any use for crazy Uncle Joe Biden that I can think of. Been watching the man for nearly 50 years. Nearly my entire life I've been seeing Biden. I can't think of a single damn thing that guy's ever done for this country. He's a self-serving hypocrite, a typical deep state, bottom-feeding swamp monster. And the only reason that he's even halfway staying in the race, and he won't be there for long, I'm telling you that, is because he was the VP for Obama. But if Barr and Durham do their job, Biden's going to be totally destroyed anyway. Go ahead and make him the nominee. I just don't think he's going to make it. He's losing about 2.5 points a week. Okay? At some point, he's going to be down in the 20s. As soon as the debates happen, and they start this week, I mean, the more you see of Crazy Uncle Joe, and the more he has to respond and think on his feet and do those sorts of things, the worse he looks. I just see him, as I said, he would start out here, and from that point, it's all downhill. And a month from now, he could be down in the low 20s. And a month after that, he's in single digits. I just don't see him being able to last. And the only reason he even looks remotely electable is because the other 20 crazy demo commies around him are so freaking bad. Look how bad that field is. When Joe Biden stands out as being the top guy, you know you're in a bad field, my friends. Trump has signed an executive order to pressure the insurance companies, doctors, and other healthcare providers to disclose their rates for services and to provide patients with out-of-pocket costs before their procedures. Amen. Oh my God. I've been begging for this for years. Literally for years. Years and years I've been begging for this. Finally. Now, at this point, it has to go through the Department of Health and Human Services. The Democrats are going to fight it tooth and nail. But I believe they can implement this as a policy. And if this takes place, I promise you, you will see rates drop, I would say a minimum of 15% across the board starting out. That's just starting out. And it will force a competitive move downward, and we will see literally 20-25% within 2 to 3 years, 20-25% drop. Just with this alone. This has been one of the major fixes that you needed for years and years and years. This is an excellent move by President Trump. Excellent move. Health and Human Services need to make it happen, and watch what happens if they can enforce this and make this happen. You just watch. I'm tired of getting shafted by my eye doctor. Every time I got to go see this guy every 3 months, and he shakes me down for $200. He says, "Well, things are pretty much what they all. You stay on the eye drops." Jeez. Well, the rich are leaving New York, and they are leaving in droves. And I don't blame them. 46% of New Yorkers who earn more than $150,000 per year have vacated. Think about that. 46% of the people who earn 150 grand or more than 150 grand a year in New York have vacated. If that number is correct, that is devastating, because that's their entire damn tax base. 450,000 people just in the last year alone have left New York. Now, I know New York's a very large city, over, 20 million, 16, 18 million people. In the state of New York, you're talking probably, there's a lot of people in New York. That's okay. It's got a lot of people there. But still, 450,000 is still a pretty damn big number. That's almost 500,000 people. And it's the people who are leaving. It's the people who've been paying the taxes. That's who's leaving. It's not the people who've been living off the dime. It's the people who've been forking over the dimes. And they're getting the hell out. And New York has already announced they have a major budget shortfall, $2.3 billion budget shortfall. And we're talking not million, billion. That's a state, not a country. In New York, the top 10% pay over 70% of the taxes. The top 10% pay over 70% of the taxes. What happens when that 10% leaves? Who's going to pay that 70% of taxes. The poor, the middle class, they ain't got it. The top 1% of New Yorkers pay more than the bottom 90% combined. Why in the world, if you were in the top 1% wage earners in New York, would you stick around? You can roll right across the river to New Jersey, although their taxes are damn high there too. But they could go to Pennsylvania or Florida. A lot of places you can go, especially if you're in the top 1%. My oh my. The chickens are coming home to roost for the liberals. Communism fails every time it's tried. Just ask New York and California. Two living examples of communism failing in real time. This is a story that, for whatever reason, the American press, even Fox News, even a lot of Western journalists who follow the story are just not following this story. I don't speak Italian, so it's kind of hard for me to read the damn Italian newspapers. But I'm doing everything I can to find English translation, English language reports from Italy, because I know I keep hearing from Papaglopoulos, from his wife, who can speak Italian, about what's going on there. And then I stumble onto this story in English, and it's a report about what's going on in this parliament over in Italy. And what's going on there is amazing. It's not being reported here. In Italy, the Italian parliament is currently holding hearings to determine what documents and information to release regarding Italy's involvement in the 2016 American elections, and specifically their involvement in Spygate. That's what they're referring to it as. Documents will show, once they determine what documents they're going to release, documents will show that Mr. Potato Head, John Brennan, head of the CIA, former head of the CIA, pressured the Italian government and their intelligence agencies to assist in the Spygate conspiracy. Also, that Joseph Mifsud is an Italian intelligence agent, and he was used to set up Papaglopoulos on behalf of Brennan and the CIA. It is also the reason why the 4 intelligence heads in Italy were forced to resign over the Spygate scandal, and it's why the former PM is also being raked over the coals, being scrutinized as well because of his involvement, and he was probably persuaded by Obama. Not being reported in the Western press, but they're getting ready to, the parliament in Italy is debating right now over what documents to release, but they're openly admitting that it was CIA Director Mr. Potato Head John Brennan, along with Obama, that enlisted the help and likely pressured the Italian intelligence services to assist them in their frame-up of Papaglopoulos, using an Italian agent who we're all familiar with now, Mr. Mifsud. Mifsud. M-I-F-S-U-D. Mifsud. Did I pronounce that correctly for you? Someone keeps saying I keep saying misfit. I'm trying to say Mifsud. Remember, I am a hillbilly. So, there are now sanctions. Trump has put sanctions on Iran, and he is specifically targeting the leadership, particularly the Navy and the Ayatollah himself, Khomeini, freezing their assets. And they have a lot of assets in Europe and other places, probably even in the U.S. So also, let's not forget about the fact that I think they're running a little cyber attack on the is on the Iranian Navy as well, in addition to the sanctions. Let's see, big league politics. More bad news for Peter's been stroking us. Yes, Peter has been stroking us for a very long time, but I get the feeling that he's going to be stroked himself. Yes, I have that feeling that Barr and Durham are taking a hard look, and every time you turn around, Peter's been stroking us, is involved in something else. I mean, the guy was involved in everything. He was heading up the Clinton email investigation, which he cooked. He was involved in everything. I mean, the Spygate. He was on the Mueller team. I mean, it's just ridiculous, man. The cover-ups and everything else. So, Big League Politics reporting that new evidence reveals that Peter's been stroking us, manipulated the search warrant for the laptop of Anthony's wiener to protect the rotten Reverend Clinton from prosecution. Basically, he did about 5 or 6 things, essentially equating to creating a fake timeline to leave a misleading record in the file. So he rigged the laptop, the Anthony's wiener's laptop, to protect the rotten Reverend Clinton from prosecution. He also is the one who helped reword Comey's statement to keep her from being prosecuted. Man, these people were desperate. They were absolutely desperate. And they're caught red-handed. Well, there's a photo of Kamala Harris protesting with Jussie. This has just recently popped up. This photo was taken just 2 weeks before Jussie staged his hate hoax, at the same time that Kamala Harris was trying to get her anti-lynching bill through Congress. We also know that Michelle Obama's former chief of staff, Tina Chin, refused a subpoena from a process server after she was found to have been the person to have called Kim Foxx, the prosecutor, to pressure her to drop the charges. My oh my. And now there is a judge who's ordered an investigation of the investigation. And this is certainly going to come into play. I'm not so sure. I mean, I never jumped on this bandwagon when it was going around or coming down the street, but I'm not totally, saying that I don't believe that it's possible that maybe Michelle Obama or someone in the Obama's orbit was involved in putting her former spokeswoman up to this. I'm not so sure that Kamala Harris wasn't involved in some sort of a scheme with Jussie, or if he was acting on his own. And they also just released a bunch of video. The Chicago police released a bunch of video, including the video that shows where the cops came into his house, and he's still wearing the damn rope around his neck. And the cop's like, would you like to take the damn rope around your neck? I mean, we're kind of here. You can take the rope off your neck if you'd like. I mean, this stuff's crazy, man. This stuff's crazy. That whole Jussie Smollett thing, man, I hope it gets aired out. I really do, because that's just bullshit. That really is. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it, man. I was just talking to a guy today, was at our facility. He's from somewhere in Illinois, and he was just talking today, just telling me, he said, man, things are so corrupt in Chicago, dude, you wouldn't believe it. He said, and they run the state. Those of us who live in northern Illinois, we have no say. Everything's decided in Chicago. He said it is absolutely the most corrupt place that you could ever live. And he said, if I wasn't like 3 years from retirement and just about done, he said, I would get the hell out. But he was just telling me today how bad it is living in Chicago, man. And I've been to the airport there quite a few times, O'Hare. That's all I know about Chicago or Illinois. I think I went to Lincoln's birthplace once when I was a kid. Other than that, I just don't know much about it. But yeah, this man today was telling me that Chicago's a really, really corrupt place, man. And I mean, this is obvious. I mean, I've watched so many of these people get off the hook that I want to say that I'm absolutely certain that there's going to be some consequences here, but I don't know that there will be. Go ahead and have an investigation of the investigation. But if things are as corrupt in Chicago as we're hearing, who's conducting the investigation? Someone from Chicago. What are they going to do to someone from Chicago who's taking care of some real big folks in Chicago, including possibly a presidential candidate who might have been involved in this? If there's a lot of really big, powerful people, they'll do whatever they have to do to make it go away. They already have. We'll see how that works out. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a good night. Bye.